Well, welcome. Welcome to this PowerPoint where we are going to introduce you to the automated scoring and interpretation interview, and that's the ASII. So, as we view this module, there's a certain assumption we have, and that's you're familiar with the CRI. You've read the manual. That means you know its components, and you also know the labels that we use in this testing process. You know what we're going to do now? We're going to take a peek at what the ASII produces. And here we are. This is what we call a recapitulation record. And when you are finished inputting data into the ASII, this is produced. All right? Now, I could hear some of you saying, "Ooh, can I do that?" Well, let's see. In this module, what we're going to do is we're going to study the ASII. We're going to look at its components. However, we're going to use visuals first, and then after we're familiar with what we're going to do it. All right? So, visual 1. This is the front page of the ASII. What you do is you type in the student's name. There's a drop-down menu for you to select the grade. You type in the age and the date, as well as your name. And once you have that, we're ready to begin inputting data. All right? So, where do we start? Right here, with the word list. Again, a drop-down menu. You select the grade that you started with the word list. You then use the drop-down menu to select the number correct for the flash and the number correct for the untimed. Let me tell you something here. If you select 20, which is the highest you could get for the flash, what will happen is automatically the untimed will identify 20. It's correct, you've perfect score, and there's nothing you can do that's higher. So I just want to show you something. Right here in the center is the icon that says narrative passages. We're going to click that on, okay? And when you click that on, this is where you are directed. Let's click that. Do you see what's happened? Instantly the calculation is given. So what do we have to do? We return to the narrative data. Let's keep looking at this visual and deciding. Well, the first thing we have to do is select the passage that we began with. Again, a drop-down menu, you select the passage. Then you identify the way in which the passage was administered. And when you select oral, guess what happens? Instantly you have this drop-down menu. And now you're asked to identify some information. We've included it here. So the first thing you would do is how many miscues were made by the student that kept the meaning. You use your drop-down menu. How many miscues violated the meaning? How many self-corrections? How many non-words? So now you've put in the key information that you obtained through the oral reading of that passage. What are you ready for now? Retelling. Notice here. Always select yes. And why are you going to do that? Instantly, the narrative retelling rubric appears. And what you're going to do is input all the data. So you're going to put all of these scores in. And it will be either full, half, or no credit. Then, after you put the input, all 4 categories, you now notice that automatically the retelling score is provided for you. And what do? You accept. And that's an important thing to do. So, we've done the oral, we've done the retelling. What's next? You're right, comprehension questions. So, let's assume that these are the scores. What you would do then is you would now, for each of these, put in whether it was full, partial, or none. You put that in. Once that's there, what do? You accept. And why do you accept? Because it's saved. All right? So, let's peek at the narrative recapitulation again. Look at what happened. Instantly, the computer calculates scores. You automatically get an RAI, an MMI, overall comprehension, retelling, how many text, how many inference, and how many critical response. That's the power of the ASII. And this, by the way, lets you see the difference between reading accuracy, the meaning maintenance index, and oral comprehension. Powerful data appears before you. So, we've got to return to the narrative because we have to keep inputting data. We finish the oral, we move to the next story. Again, there's a drop-down menu, and what do? Select silent. Notice when we select silent, there is no drop-down menu. Why? Because there were no miscues to evaluate. This was read silently. So you instantly move to the retelling. Select yes. Your drop-down rubric appears. You calculate and accept, which then enables you to go to the comprehension and input all your data, correct, half, or incorrect, and accept. That's key. If you don't include accept, it will not be saved. So, how about we peek at the narrative recapitulation again? Notice, this has instantly calculated all scores. Again, with the oral, you have the reading accuracy index and the meaning maintenance index. Here, you simply have silent comprehension, retelling, and the 3 types. But notice, the average is automatically produced for you. We want you to see something. Should someone have a score of 45, that would reflect frustration. So do you see up at the top, you have frustration level, instructional level, the highest one, and the highest independent level. So what I would do is I would use this drop-down menu to select what grade here? It's 3rd grade. So you put the 3rd grade in, and look at what happened. Once you use your drop-down menu up here for frustration, instantly all the data appears. You'll see you have your RAI, MMI, you have how many self-corrections, you have how many non-words, you've got the flash, the untimed. All of the data appears in that frustration box. So, let's come up here. This is an important part. You see up here at the top left, file. Why? When you are finished inputting all the data, you go to that file, and what you're going to do is you're going to save. You're going to save that. Now listen here. The computer saves it in a folder that it has created for the ASII. And when it saves, if I were to call this, say my student's name is Susie Jones, I would say save as Susie Jones. And what would happen is you would have Susie Jones.RI. So that's saved in the ASII format. Something else about that file. You can view it in Word. And when you view it in Word, that is the one you then save, that recapitulation record. Notice it will end in .rtf. So you have two different files saved. The Word recapitulation record is the one that you give to a teacher, a parent, when you're actually doing it for your assignment. That's the one you print and submit. So notice, you save the file in two forms. In the ASII folder created by your computer as you download the system, but also in Word. Why did you do that? Because if you ever had to return to that, say for instance you're working with the peer in a class, and you show your results, and there's a disagreement, and what you looked at is, you say, oh, I don't agree here. So say for instance, you had scored a student's performance, 5th grade, and you had given it 100. And everybody looks at it and says, wait a minute, this is too high. And you realize you made a mistake. You could go back, follow all the guidelines, change it, and then reprint. So this is a powerful awareness to save that in two forms. Let's access that ASII. Where do you go? Website, thoughtfulliteracy.com. We go instantly to the critical reading inventory. We put in our email. We tell it to send. We click to start. We know we have this authentication. And here we are. Now, the ASII is located right there. We are going to constantly be adjusting the critical reading inventory and the ASII, and we'll upgrade it constantly. What do? You download that program. Keep in mind, whenever you download something, your computer takes it to your download folder. It just so happens, on my computer, that always appears at the bottom left. So you go to your downloaded folder, activate it. Once that's activated, you click Run. Now you simply hit Next because it's all set up. You hit Next the second time. You hit Next the third time. And now you tell it, Install. And finish. Now this is set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's say we have Susie, right? And let's say, to make things easy, Susie's in 3rd grade. So she's 8. We tested her. She was tested, let's say 312. And here you put in your name. So we started at the 1st grade. 20. We went to the 2nd grade. We had 18 and 20. We went to the 3rd grade, and just to make things easy, we're going to go to the 3rd grade rather, and let's come down and say she had 11, and then she had 14. So, remember we said if I went and hit narrative passages down at the bottom right, I'd see recapitulation. So, look at what's happened. All the calculation instantly. So, we're going to go to the 1st grade story. Here it is. We did it orally. And guess what? No miscues whatsoever were made. No self-corrections, and no non-words. So we've identified it was oral, we had analyzed the miscues, and we put the data in, and now we say yes. And in this retelling, we're going to say, yes, she had everything beautifully done. And we accept. And for her comprehension, to make things easy, we're going to say, yes, she had everything correct, and we're going to accept. Let's peek at the recapitulation record. Do you see what's happened? All your scores instantly done. So, up at the top here, return to data entry. Now we're going to move to the silent. And this time, we had everything except a personal response. So we say no. And we accept. And this time, she had just one, because I want to show you something. One item that she didn't get a total thing, she missed it. I want you to peek here. Let's get to the recapitulation. Notice what you have here. For oral, she had a score of 100. For silent, she had a score of 94. Look at what happens. Average. Instantly calculated. So let's return. And now we're going to go to the second grade story. We did it orally. This time we had 2 miscues that made sense. None violated, meaning we had 1 self-correction, but we had no non-words. So, oral reading's done. We move to retelling. And this time, there was one bit of information that she forgot to include, and again, no personal response. So, we accept. Now, at this point in time, we notice that she has this correct, but number 3, which is always an inference, she only had a 3 there. When she got to 4, she got that completely correct. 5 completely correct. Now, notice when she went to 7, I meant to do this, half credit. 8's correct, 9 and 10 are correct. What do? We accept. Then we go to the silent. We say it was done silently. We accept help. We input our scores. Once again, we had some data that was omitted, partially. We accept. And now once again, she missed number 3, which is an inference. She has half of her inference right and half of her critical response right. But her text she has correct with, and this inference is correct. This text, let's say we have half here and full there. So now we accept. Let's look at the recapitulation record. Now, it shows all the data. We have a 90 for oral comprehension, but we have a big drop here, 75% oral comprehension. And instantly the average. Let's get back, and to make things easy for us, moving on to third, what we're going to do is we're going to show this as her frustration level. Okay? So let's input our data and let's get our retelling, and we're going to omit some key things here, and we're going to have no. So we're going to accept, and then we have this right, wrong, half, we're going to accept and move now to third silent. Yes, I need help. I turn around and input my data, and here we have some real difficulties. We accept, and once again, I'm just inputting the data. And we accept, and let's look at our narrative. So we finished. We have independent, instruction, and frustration. So third grade was frustration. I come up and select third. Now watch what happens. You see it? All the data put in. Second was instructional, so that's her highest instructional, so we'll put that as second. And first is her highest independent. So all my data is in. What do I have to do? I have to come up here and save it. Notice your ASII folder, and then I'm going to say in class model. That's what I'm going to call it. All right? It's told me here is where it's saved. Again, the program created that folder. So now I go back, and this time I view as a Word document. And here you have it. This is the one you print out, folks, and use for your assignment, and you use it for parents or teachers. All right, so now we can exit the program. And now we're back to our PowerPoint, and notice, what about future use? After you have the initial downloading and installation, the program sets this up on your desktop. You now merely click the desktop, and there you will find your automated scoring. I want you to come back here. Remember I said you save it. Let's go to open. I'm going to open this one. It says, are you sure you want to open this? And I'm going to say yes. Now, I'm going here, and I'm going to go to the 5th grade because I'm going to pretend like we had a discussion and somebody disagreed with the score of 100 that we gave on this 5th grade response. And what they said is, careful, you gave full credit for number 4, and we thought that that's only half credit. And you gave full credit for number 9, and we think that that was pure background speculation. So you change it. Now you accept. And now let's go check out that. Remember 5th grade? You had 100. Now you're down to 85. So you see the importance of saving in the ASII format folder as in addition to the Word document. All right, we're going to exit the program, and remember that uncertain feeling we had. Look at the light bulbs are on. We feel comfortable using the ASII. We're going to say goodbye now, but folks, we will be back soon.